Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders, in green our Category 2, in blue Category 3 and Category 4 riders.
So Garioni continues to kick at 5 watts per kilo, going clear of this Category 1 race field before we get to half race distance today. Gilson's decided she's going past fast. She kicks at 7 watts per kilo to get past that group and to get past that group clear. She's kicked at a perfect timing because there's always some confusion when one group passes another.
We have less than 150 metres to go. You've got to kick over the top and you've got to put the power down. Who's going to have that kick? It looks to me like Ortiz is going to do this. Maria Ortiz makes it to the line.
She has managed to stay clear. She put in an early attack and absolutely put the gauntlet down for everybody today. She said she was going early, she went early, and this is her race finish. So Mary Joyce Coking comes over the line for the win in the Category 4 race.
This is about that run in to the finish. The first rider over the line in Category 2 is going to be all of the Category 1s. It's Veronica Pardini.
Garioni is going, Estrada is there, so is Bauer. Can Bauer come back from this? Can Estrada win it? Can Bauer? Garioni. Brogan is coming fast. Estrada, I think, who takes that. Bauer pushes on. She's got 50 metres till she gets to the finish banner. She has ridden clear of Brogan, Garioni, Gilson and Estrada. Brogan is in second at the moment, but Bauer is going to take the win here today. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are here on the 5th of February for Qualifier Race number 1 in February, and I will be bringing you all of the action today. So my name is Emma Martin and I am looking forward to taking you through the racing from these women today. We saw some fantastic racing throughout January. We saw some lone breakaways, we saw some sprint finishes, and we saw that epic climb from Jojo Bauer last week to take the win in that Category 1 January final. So what are we in for in February? Let's take a look. So qualifier number 1 in February, we are looking at a race distance of 35 kilometres with a total elevation of 425 metres. And that comes in 2 climbs really today. So we've got first climb coming at 4.3 kilometres. It's 2.4k in length with an average gradient of 1.9%. So really a rolling bump in the road because the main climb today comes at 30.2k. It's 4.8k in length and it takes the women to the finish line, the checkered flag at the top of that Category 3 climb today. As you can see, it's an average gradient of 5.4%, but there are some bumps and some rollers on that climb, so some very steep segments coming up and some downhills and flats on that climb. So a technical climb today and expecting to see some really class riding on that final climb to the finish line. So 7 segments today as well. And our 4 categories of riders today: Category 1, Category 2, Category 3 and Category 4, all in the start pens at the moment with separate start times. And it's our Category 4 riders that will be the first riders underway today. So our Category 4 riders in those red jerseys today, we have 15 riders on the start sheets and 1 team, which is Fire Girls, represented by Geraldo today. Now, it was indeed the Colombian Kiwis who took the team win last week from Fire Girls in that January team finale in Category 4. But we've got some strong riders in this field today. We've got Hyde, Tannigan, Coking, Vink, Gallego, Agudela, Fernanda, Barco, Ossa, as well as Geraldo and a number of other riders. So we are expecting a really strong start to February in Category 4. So in with Fernanda as the power starts to go down, and the Category 4 race is away for February. So kicking hard off the start line, Fernanda pushes on. This group is about getting away and getting away cleanly. So Diego, Pablo, Sarasuk is in here as well. Hyde has made a good start, so has Tandingen and Madeira. These riders all rolling well, and it's looking like this Category 4 race have all got clear of that start line together and are rolling as a good pack into the early stages of this course today. So away from the start line, this group sweep round this left-hand bend. They are all together. Fernanda, Geraldo, Tandingen, these riders with Hyde and Vink as well, pushing on. Sarasuk is in there too. These riders moving well and moving well early in these early stages of this ride today. Now, 4.3 kilometers that first climb comes at, and the parkour is pretty flat until we get to that stage, a short rise before they meet that foothills of that first climb today, but nothing really too steep for these women until they hit that 30.2 kilometer mark. Now, it was indeed Tandingen who took the win in the January final, followed by Gallego, Agudelo, Vink, and Fernanda in this Category 4 race, and a number of those women on this start sheets and in this race field today. So, expecting some really good racing in Qualifier 1 for Category 4. So throughout February, 3 qualification rounds throughout February before we reach our February final. Last month we saw 4 qualification rounds, so less opportunity to qualify this month than in January, but less opportunity to qualify doesn't mean a lower quality of racing, because these women are in this race field and pushing on already as Tandingen comes to the front here. So Tandingen just pushing on and keeping this pace high. You can just see this gradient. This is that first little climb we were talking about, Tandingen and Koking. In fact, Koking is utilising the opportunity to kick. Vink is responding. Pablo is there. Tandingen has seen the danger too. And Geraldo, Fernanda as well, and Hyde. These are all really class riders in this Category 4 race field. But it's Koking who has gone really hard off the front here. Pablo pulls her back. But it's now Koking and Pablo with 2 seconds clear of the rest of the field. And in fact, it is Agudelo and Vink and Fernanda and Tandingen who are covering the front of that pack behind. But wow, what a kick. It's almost a sprint away from the group from both Koking and Pablo to try and get that gap. And they've got a 2-second gap, but we're starting to see Tandingen come across, and Tandingen is showing her ability here because Tandingen is closing that gap down to Pablo. She's caught Pablo and now she's pushing on to the back wheels of Koking. This is fast and furious off the start line here today from our Category 4 women. So as Tandingen goes over the top of Koking, we turn our attention to the Category 3 race field. These are blue jersey wearers in this race today. So our Category 3 race field, just over 1 minute until the start today. 14 riders in this race field and 1 team today. That's Team Golden Light. Now, it was indeed Golden Light who took the win herself in the January final in Category 3, followed by Illustra, Barco, Lopez, Fioroni, rounding out that top 5. Now, it was Climber Girls who took the team win, and the Lionesses who came in second place in that team competition. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in February. You can see our Category 2 and Category 1 riders still lined up, spinning those legs, finishing off warm-ups and getting ready for their own race starts. So as our Category 4 riders continue pushing on that race course, we await our Category 3 start in the start pens today. So we're in with Ochoa as the legs spin and wait for that final countdown for qualifier race number 1 in the February MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So Ochoa pushes, Lopez is there, and this category 3 race is now underway. These women take to the bends, they take round the corner, and off they transition out of the start pens and onto the course proper as Ochoa and Barco, Lopez, Golden Light, all push on here with Carla Fioroni as well in this race field today. So Light pushes on at the front, adamant she wants to make this a fast race today. So she was not just satisfied with winning our January final last week, she's pushing on out of the start pen as well. So Ochoa, Lopez, Light, Barco, Quintero is in here as well. Zabala is in here too. These women, all strong women in this race. It's looking like we've just got 1 or 2 riders getting dropped off the back there of that group with this fast start today. But Giuliano is in there as well, taking a little bit of a look further back down the field. Not quite noticing who is dropped off the back of that group at the moment, but they are indeed closing that gap back down, and this looks like it's settling back in with Ribaldo there. Fioroni was one of the ones caught out there, but Ribaldo pushing back on and moving back into that group. Taking a look at the top right-hand corner of your screen, that graphic there gives us a really good indication as to what is happening in the pack. Currently a very tight group on the road at the moment, but often this is how we can spot the attacks and we can spot the concertina happening within the group and the small breaks starting to form. So Antico and Cabanata, Quintero, Light, Fioroni and Lopez all comfortably within that pack and well and truly underway in that category 3 race today. A little bit further down the road, in fact, 2.7 kilometers down the road is our category 4 race, and that pack is looking like it is all together again. But hold on a minute, I think I can spot Coking down the road, so I think we have a breakaway in that category 4 race now. In fact, it is. In fact, Coking is the rider 9 seconds down the road, and this is the chase group. So Agudela, Vink, Fernanda, Giraldo, Pablo, Diego are all the riders in that chase group. And in fact, it is Agudelo who's stretching her legs to try and bring that group and convince them to push on a little bit harder to bring Coking back in. So Coking attacking really early in this category 4 race. Vink, Giraldo, Fernanda, Agudela, Diego and Pablo all in this chase group, all working as they sweep round this right-hand corner with Coking, who is now a little bit further down that road and out of sight of this group. So Coking is now out of sight, 10 seconds down the road, the lead rider on the road today. A little bit further back, we've got the chasing race now from this category 3 group. The pack is all together and they are moving well and moving strongly. You can see they're moving a little bit quicker than our category 4 pack, but that category 4 pack are now on the foothills of that first climb. So at 4.5 kilometers into this race, our category 4 riders are on the first climb of the day. It's not too steep. It's got an average gradient of 1.9% and it's 2.4 kilometers in length. And Coking is making the most of that opportunity and continuing to push on. So our category 4 riders at 4.7, our category 2 riders at 2.1, our category 2 riders in the start pens at the moment with just over 1 minute to go. So our category 2 riders are our next riders underway today, and 12 riders on the start sheets today in this category 2 race, and one team RT Cycle Zone Ladies 1. Now, in the category 2 race, it was the endurance team who took the win in the team prize last week from Strong Girls, but a very competitive race in category 2. And expecting another competitive race today. We've got Manuela Sanchez on the start line. We've got Sinelli, Barragan, Lantari, Hermison, Cerna, Reynolds, Jenny Sanchez as well, Morgane Olsen. These riders very, very strong and competitive. So we're in with Elodie Reynard as the warm-ups are over, the legs are spinning, and they are waiting for the start banner to go. So Reynard pushes hard as this Category 2 race is underway. Hermassen and Sanchez pushing on the front here. Fernanda as well. The watts are going down over 4 watts per kilo off of this start line as this Category 2 race pushes out of the pens and onto the course. So Para, Santiago, Fernanda, Lantari, Olsen, Barragan, these riders in this race and pushing on. All of our Category 2 riders look clear out of the pens today. We've got one rider in a little bit of trouble off the back here, and one rider not quite making that start in a clear way and joining that group. So one rider in trouble today, but Lantari, Sinelli, these riders at the front of this pack are moving strongly. So it's a small group of Category 2 riders today, just 12 riders on the start sheets in Category 2 today, but all riding well. And it's looking like it's Jenny Sanchez who has had problems at the start. Now, Jenny Sanchez, normally a really strong rider. Jenny Sanchez pushing on now, and you can see she's going to make the catch on that group. I said she was a strong rider. She's pushing at 5 watts per kilo, or just under 5 watts per kilo, to time trial her way back on to that group. So Sanchez having a small problem at the start, but very comfortably and quickly back into that group. So all our Category 2 riders are now comfortably in that pack. Barragan is there, Sinelli, Santiago. These riders are all comfortably in here. Reynard is in here. Olsen is in here. Arras is in here too. Lantari, all ticking along very comfortably at the moment in this group. So our Category 2 race field is now underway. Our Category 3 race field is further up the road, and our Category 4 race field is currently leading this race at the moment. Our Category 1 race field are sat in those start pens, warm-ups complete, and their legs are spinning, awaiting the go. So as Barragan leads this group around this pack, and Para is there as well, just taking a little stretch here. We just got a little rise in front of us now. This is just a little rise before we get to the first climb on this course. That first climb coming at 2.4 kilometres. So our Category 2 field not quite there yet, but our Category 3 pack still large in size, and our Category 4 riders still spread down that road after those early attacks going from Tanningen, Koking, etc. And it's looking like Koking is still clear of that pack, and this pack are moving fast and trying to bring her back. So our Category 2 field at 1.5 kilometres, our Category 3 field at 4.2 kilometres, and our Category 4 field at 6.5 kilometres of this race underway. Our Category 1 are still sat in those start pens. So in our Category 1 race today, we have some really strong riders, as you would expect. So we're in with Jacina Menendez at the moment, but take a look at that race field. There are 33 riders on the start sheets in our Category 1 race field today. Just 2 teams, Spartan Obstacles and Crank Sisters, but Jojo Bauer, Catherine Fuhr and Gemma Brogan as part and parcel of those 2 teams. Now, it was Crank Sisters, Jojo Bauer's team, that took the win in that January final. From Tomorrow Cycling, they took the 2nd position in that team competition. So some strong riders in this race field today, as we mentioned. So Rebecca Gilson is in here, Strada is in here, Bartskaya, Del Rocco, Manshandi, Geraldo Arrayas is in here, Embring is in here, Biarhead is in here, Bauer is in here, Brogan is in here, Zabata, Menendez, Moreno, Ortiz. It's a really strong and packed Category 1 race field. So just taking a look at our Category 2 riders, it's looking like we've got a little push from Cerner off the front here. So Cerner not wanting to sit and not wanting to make this a comfortable ride for this Category 2 group, pushing on at the moment. Olsen is in 2, Santiago in 3, Fernanda is in there as well, wanting to keep this pace high, as Cerner is the one really trying to push and take this pace. So our category 1 riders spinning their legs for the final time in this start pen, awaiting the final countdown. So the final countdown is underway for this category 1 women's race as away they go. We're in with Menezes as the push comes hard, and the push really comes hard off the front at the moment at 9 watts per kilo to attempt to get this pack out and get this pack out fast. They're pushing hard and they are gaining momentum, and it is topping 50 kph off of the start line as Fur is the one to really push. Menezes goes over the top. Del Rocco is there with Bauer. They are pushing hard, and look how strong that pack is off that start line. These women have started fast and they have started hard in this category 1 race field for the February qualifier number 1 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. The pack is split already with Bardaskaya part and parcel of that front group. Biarhead is there and Brogan as well, but there's a 3-second gap back now, and we're starting to see riders try and cross and make the juncture to the lead group. But that is an early damage being done to this category 1 race field. So, and taking a look at who's not made the junction to that group, and it's looking like Fur is one of those riders who went off the front really fast, and Fur has not made the junction to that group. Neither Zabata or Rossi or Lopez here, and it's looking like Fur is the one who is pushing on now and actually trying to close that gap, because it's a 5-second gap now. But look at the start of that category 1's women's race. It has absolutely split this category 1 race field. So the front group have started to settle down a little in this category 1 race with less than 1 kilometre of racing underway. The group has been absolutely decimated. So a much smaller group than the 33 riders we saw in the start pens now in this leading group in this category 1 race. So the category 1 race now underway on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, this is the leading group on the road. This is our category 4 race field coming up for 9 kilometres now of racing done. Coking out in the lead, Tanningen chasing hard with Vink, Agudela, and this group of riders, 1, 2, 3, 4 riders chasing 5 riders. This is really fast on the front of this category 4 race, and Coking and the other attacks from Tanningen, etc., have all made that a hard race from the gun. So Ramirez here just watching, covering the back of the group with Quevedo, just pushing on and just sitting into that group now nice and tightly. A nice little tight group here. Brogan, Giraldo, Quevedo, Zabata, Embring in this group too. These riders, Moreno in here too, Menezes is in here as well, all riding really well. So this now is the front of the category 2 race a little bit further down the road. Santiago is in here, Reynard, Lantari. A little gap back to Sanchez. 1, 2, 3. 4 riders now, 5 riders now clear, with another rider just trying to cross the gap. So Santiago, Lanteri, Reynard and Olsen, part and parcel of that lead group of 5 pushing on. We've got one more rider now trying to close that gap down and bring that group back together again, because that small group of 5 riders clear is dangerous in that category 2 race. So Olsen, Santiago, Lantari, Reynard, all part and parcel of this. In fact, it is Leslie Ann Cordero who is pushing on at the front here. Lantari just picking up the pace. Sanchez, Reynard, Santiago, Olsen 2 seconds back now. In fact, it's Fernanda who is the rider who is back in the front of that lead group. They are 5 seconds back now. So 6 riders now clear with a 5-second gap back to the rest of that category 2 race field. So it's looking like the category 2 race field really pushing on now and pushing on hard in this qualifier race number 1 in February. Only 3 qualifiers this month, not the 4 like we had in January, before we come to the February final. So less opportunities to qualify, but fast and furious racing, as you can see here already on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So we've got a smaller group of category 1 riders here, and we've got riders who, like Fur, who went hard off the start line, not making the junction to this leading group here. But who do we have in here? Brogan is in here, Moreno, Del Rocco, Bardaskaya, Borgin is in here. We've got Geraldo in here as well. So some class riders in this field. Menendez is in here, and we can see this group just working quite comfortably, not pushing on too hard, just on this first little climb of the day and riding as a really tight little pack. So currently coming up for 3 kilometres travelled, and they are just about to go round the corner and see the blue banner in front of them, and that blue banner signifies the end of segment number 1. So 7 segments here today in this women's race. It's a 35-kilometre course, 425 metres of climbing, and segments 1 to 5 are 1 kilometre in length. So 5 1-kilometre segments, 1 at 5 kilometres and 1 at 3.5 kilometres in length. So taking a little look here at the results of segment number 1. And you can see it is in fact those attacks off that category 2 race that are setting the fastest times through that segment. So that attacking and racing in that category 2 field having an impact. So Jenny Sanchez going through with the fastest time at 1 minute and 47 seconds. The rest of that leading 11 fastest times all coming from that category 2 race field. So Sanchez, Reynard, Santiago, all coming through there. And we can then take a look at the chase in the category 4 race, then setting the next set of fastest times with Koking pushing on hard, but that chase coming from Agudela and Fernanda and Vink and Gallego setting fast times too through there. And in fact, the category 1 race field are setting much slower times, 22nd down in that list. So 2 minutes and 1 second, the fastest time for BR Head, the fastest rider in that category 1 race, 14 seconds slower than that category 2 field. So giving us a real indication of what's going on in the racing today. The category 1 riders, the pace was early, the pace was hard, and it has split the group to a much smaller group of this category 1 race. Now content to sit in that group and ride comfortably as a group in the early stages of this race. Our category 2 race and our category 4 race have seen constant attacks going off the front and showing us that in the fastest times through this early segment. So our category 2 race is indeed 2.7 kilometres in front of our category 1 race at the moment. And Sanchez, Para, Reynard, Lantari are all in there. Sinelli is in there too, and Arrayas and Barragan. It's quite a large pack there of category 2 riders. Around 9 to 10 riders in that category 2 group. So our category 1 riders on the right-hand side of your screen, our category 2 race field on the left-hand side of your screen. Category 1 at the moment content to tap out a comfortable pace. Looking at those heart rates, Bardas Sky's heart rate currently 148, very comfortable and very steady. So the screen at the moment showing us all 4 race fields, and you can see the packs and the groups together. So category 4 race field all together there. We're in with Ella Vink at the moment. That's either the chasing group behind Koking or they have brought Koking back in. I'm sure we will catch up with that race shortly. The category 3 field are still a strong group. That category 2 group have already been whittled down, and they've been whittled down hard by some attacks, and it was the early attacks that broke the category 1 race field and shattered it, with Fua going hard off the front line and the start line, but not making the selection into this group after the continued attacks in the first 2 kilometres. So a little bit further back down this category 1 race field, this is indeed the second group on the road. So Salazar is in here with Lopez, etc. But Fua here chasing hard. Fua 56 seconds now back, finds herself in a little bit of dead space as the chasing group behind with Zabata and Salazar will make the catch to Fua, and then Fua will have a group to work with, but that will be the group on the road. Now Borgin and Gonzalez is a little bit further up the road, with Moreno and Embring. That is the lead group. So 1 minute back to this chase group now on the road. 2, 4, 6, 7 riders in this chase group of the category 1 race. So the lead group in the category 1 race are 450 metres further up the road than the group containing Fua and Zabata. that group now is the chasing group, Group 2 on the road in this Category 1 race field. So Jojo Bauer comfortably in this leading race pack here, currently sat with a heart rate of 150, tapping out 3.8 watts per kilo. Cadence of 75 revs per minute. All that information you can see on the top left-hand corner of your screen. Now, the 254 watts that Bauer is currently putting out is in black, indicating that she is to the front of that pack and not comfortably in the draft of the group. If she were in the draft of the group, that wattage number would be in green, indicating the rider taking the draft. Now, Bauer pushing on and at the front of this group, tapping along very comfortably. This group now coming up for 5.5 kilometres travelled. This is the start of segment number 2. So as the lead group in the Category 1 race go under the start banner for segment number 2, Bauer continues to tap very comfortably on the front of that group. The pace is not particularly high. It's sitting at around 30 kph. They are now 11 minutes into this race, and we can see this group sitting very comfortably moving through. So on the right-hand side of your screen, they are a little bit further down that race field and a little bit further down the road there. This is the front of our Category 2 race. Cordero is there, Sanchez, Santiago, Lantari, Olsen. This pack has got some really strong riders. Fernanda is in here as well. These riders pushing on. Reynard is in here too. Really working hard. Lantari and Hermassen as well. So a strong group of Category 2 riders pushing this pace now. Bit of a downhill section for these riders. Now they are up and over that first climb of the day. They're on the descent on the other side. So 42 kph pushing as they come towards the bottom of that descent and start to transition through the rest of the race. Now, it's not until 30.2 kilometres into this race that our women will face the Category 3 climb that is the final climb of this race today. 4.8 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 5.4%. Now, there are some really steep peaks on this climb because it is a stepped climb. There are some downhill sections and some flat sections on it as well. So a very technical climb today for our women coming at the end of this race. So our Category 1 leading group are around 3.5 kilometres behind that leading Category 2 group as they come under the finish banner of that 1 kilometre segment. Now, this is segment number 2. In segment number 1, it was indeed our Category 2 riders that were the fastest riders through that segment, not our Category 1 riders. And it is looking as though we are seeing a very similar picture here today in segment number 2. Now, it is indeed Koking, our Category 4 race leader, who is setting the fastest time through that segment. Now, if you remember back to when our Category 4 race was coming through this segment much earlier in the programme, this was where Koking was attacking. And so Koking here going through with 1 minute 59. And it is our Category 2 pack of Osorio, Santiago, Cordero, Lantani, Perra, Cerna, Sanchez, Olsen, and Reynard going through with the group of the second fastest time, 3 seconds behind Koking. Now, our Category 1 riders going through only just slower than our Category 2 pack. So they're pretty much travelling at a very similar pace. So Geraldo, Brogan, Bardescaya, Ramirez going through around 1.5 seconds slower than that Category 2 pack. So very little in it at the moment. Our Category 1 riders, after the fast and furious first 1,000 metres, have settled into a very, very steady pace. The question is, are they leaving this now to the final climb and will they just ride as a group until they get there? Or are we going to see some attacking like we're seeing in some of our other categories from that Category 1 race field? Now, talking about attacking in other categories, Santiago has gone off the front of this Category 2 race field. So Maria Santiago is pushing on here. She's got 7 seconds on the group behind. So Lantari and Cordero and Para, Olsen and Fernanda Reynard are the ones in the group behind, and they are 8 seconds now back on Santiago. So Santiago continues to push on as Cordero takes up the challenge. Cordero, Para, Olsen, all leaving the road in front for indeed the attack that has come, and the attack has come from Santiago. Now, no one seems to be picking this up, and the pace coming out of Santiago currently sitting at 4.5 to 5 watts per kilo, really setting a strong pace and really putting in a strong 1-2 minute power effort to try and get away from this group. Now the response may be coming, but Olsen is still sitting at around 3.7 watts per kilo on the front of this group, so I'm thinking they are happy to let Santiago go down the road. So Santiago's got a gap now of around 14 seconds on this chase group in the Category 2 race field. As we drop back in on the left-hand side of your screen with the pack in the Category 1 race field. Now, Jojo Bauer, a consummate professional in this peloton. She showed us an absolute masterclass in climbing last week on that final climb to take the win in the January final. Tapping along at such a comfortable pace at the moment. Now, her heart rate is sat at 123 beats per minute. Now, this is a really steady ride so far for Jojo Bauer, if we are reading her heart rate correctly. Moreno here is tapping along, Bauer is tapping along, but Bauer at the front of this group here, 2.7 watts per kilo on the front of this Category 1 race. So they may be on the other side of the first climb and they are on the descent, but these riders are taking it very, very steady at the moment through segment number 1 and segment number 2. We have seen the race action really coming from Category 4 and Category 2. Category 1, whilst they had a very early start in terms of making selection for this front group, it has then really steadied down in terms of the pace on this race field. So Bardskaya just rolling this group under that finish banner, or the start banner, should I say, for segment number 3. So at 9 through to 10 kilometres is our third 1 kilometre segment in this race today. It's going to be interesting to see how this Category 1 field move through this segment, but taking a look in with Brogan at the moment, our heart rate is at 116 beats per minute. I cannot imagine they are going to set the fastest pace through this segment, not when we've got real action coming from the other race fields. So Category 4 now on your screen. These are the riders leading this race field at the moment. So this race field, 7.4 kilometres. Yes, 7.4 kilometres in front of our Category 1 race field today, and really moving fast. So we're in with Vink at the moment. Vink is in this group here. Koking still is down the road, we think, and Vink is part and parcel of this chase group as they move through and over this bridge. We've seen attacks in that Category 4 race, and we've seen attacks in the Category 2 race as well, as we see Lantari, Reynard, Para all pushing on here. In fact, it's Santiago who is still out front, but the rest of the pack are now starting to chase. Santiago now 9 seconds clear of Lantari, and Lantari and Reynard and Para have now decided that they can't leave Santiago out there any longer. So pushing hard and working together, this group are now moving at a decent pace to bring Santiago back in. We're seeing 5 watts per kilo coming out of this group as they continue to work together. They are at 13.66 kilometres. Our lead group in that Category 1 race at 10.3. So 2.4 kilometres separating our Category 1 lead pack and our Category 2 lead pack. Constant action coming from this Category 2 race at the moment. So we're here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Our Category 2 and Category 4 race fields really pushing on and giving us some dynamic racing at the moment. And that is really showing in the fastest times through these early segments. So Currently, segment number 3. It's a 1 kilometre segment, and we are seeing our category 4 race field go through the quickest here. So Pablo and Barco, Giraldo, Agudela, Koking, Gallego, Fernanda, and Vink all going through that segment as within a second of each other. So 1:13, the fastest time for Pablo there, indicating the chase that has been going on in that category 4 field. Category 3 riders moving through only 1 second slower than those Category 4 fields. So Cabanatan, Cadero, Light, Ribaldo in there. Our Category 1 riders a little bit further back down that field. So Brogan going through in 20th position, 3 seconds back. So some pretty steady paces going on here, and not much difference in our race fields taking that 1 kilometre segment. In fact, scrolling down through the results, the top 50 riders are only separated by 5 seconds in segment number 3. So all the race fields moving at a pretty consistent pace through segment number 3. And that indeed is evident in those results. So Santiago put in a big dig and got a gap of about 14 seconds on this Category 2 race field. That gap is now down to 3 seconds as Lantari is bridging the gap between the chase group and Santiago. Lantari has put a big kick in and she's time trialing her way over to Santiago's wheel. 5 seconds back, Caldero is leading that chase group. Olsen is in there, Sanchez is in there, Reynard is also in there, Cerner is in there as well. These riders are pushing on and trying to make this catch back, but it's Lantari who is being successful here in transitioning over from the group to Santiago's back wheel as she is about to make that catch. So as Santiago is about to make the catch, and with Lantari here, they also take the catch onto Giuliano and Zabata from the Category 4 race field. So Lantari on Santiago's wheel. This is the lead of the Category 2 race on the qualifier number 1 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for February. We've just gone past Giuliano and Zabala in that Category 3 race field. Those two riders not able to stay with those leading Category 2 riders as they continue to push on. Now, back to our Category 1 riders, and they are about to see the back of the Category 2 race field. It's a race here. They are about to see the back wheel of as they move through, and Gemma Brogan leads them through with Bauer on her wheel. Biarhead is there as well, and Menendez as that group roll past that back marker. So the rest of that Category 2 race field are 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes up ahead of this Category 1 race field. Now, there was a 5-minute gap between those start times, and this group are rolling now on this road. So coming up for 12.5 kilometres now done on this MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for our Category 1 race field. That was the blue banner indicating the start of segment number 4. And at what point are we going to see this Category 1 race lit up? Now, that is a really good question because they are not motoring yet, whereas this Category 2 race field has been really dynamic on this 16-kilometre race. They have so far been having action on. Lantari is down the road with Santiago. They are 5 seconds down the road. Now, this group are trying to close down Reynard, Cordero, Sanchez, Olsen, Para, Fernanda. This group of Category 2 riders continuing to push and rotating through the front of this group to catch those two riders who have ridden away. So the Category 2 race field has been a really dynamic race so far. Santiago rode off from the group. Lantari made the transition. She transitioned across from the group to the lone leader. She got onto Santiago's wheel. The two riders are now 4 seconds clear as the chase group is continuing to work and continuing to work hard to reel them back in. So the group head past the back of the Category 3 race field. And can some of these Category 3 riders hang in with this Chase Category 2 group and get a tow for a short while and take the benefit of the draft? But I'm not sure they can, because the attacks are coming from the front of this group. They can see the gap now to Santiago and Lanteri. They can see that 3-second gap coming down, and they are putting in the push because they are motivated by what they can see at the other side of this bridge. So Lantari is kicking again. Lantari is adamant she wants to push on and keep a gap, but it may all be in vain because that group are now coming thick and fast behind. So the screen now showing our Category 1 leading riders 3 minutes behind that Category 2 action as they come through the end of that segment for segment number 4, that banner indicating the end of segment number 4. Now, we saw the action from the other race fields lighting up the earlier segments, and it's that race we've just been witnessing in that Category 2 race that is lighting up the segment number 4 fastest time. So Lantari coming through quickest, 1 minute and 40 seconds. Reynard in 2, Power in 3, Sanchez, Olsen, Santiago, Cerna, Osorio, Cordero, all coming through in that chase group, chasing down those 2 riders in Category number 2. Category 3 action bringing up the fastest time there in 10th position for Quintero, 1 minute 54, 13 seconds back on the fastest time through the segment. But look at those Category 1 riders. Look at where they sit. It's Rua coming through the quickest with Giraldo and Quevedo, but they are 16, 17 seconds off the pace of those Category 2 riders. So the action in Category 2, Category 3 and Category 4 setting those faster times through our first 4 1-kilometre segments today. The Category 1 race that we are looking at the moment has not really lit up yet, and Brogan's heart rate 139 indicating a very steady pace for this group at the moment, and the action that we're seeing in the other categories we are not seeing yet in this Category 1 race. So Lantari continuing to push on, but it's looking like the group have made the catch now. Lantari is being brought back in. Reynard, Sanchez, Para, Olsen, Fernanda, Cordero, all in this group. Sanchez pushing on here. These riders are now working strongly together. That breakaway has now been brought back, and this is now a larger group of riders because of it. The next group of riders down the road are our Category 3 pack. This group have already been picking off the back of that Category 3 race field. The next rider they will see in their sights is Ochoa, but that's still over a minute away. So the lead in our Category 2 race field are at 19.2 kilometres into this 35k races. We see another attack go off the front, and we're seeing another attack go off the front of that Category 2 race, trying to close down this Category 3 race. So Para is the rider who is now putting the attack in, and the response is coming from Lanteri behind. Lanteri had been out in the front, but Para is the rider pushing on here. This is constant action on the front of this Category 2 race today. So under the start banner of the segment number 6 for the Category 2 leading rider, Angie Para. Angie Para pushing on and putting a small gap of 2 seconds now into the chase group behind. Para, they've brought back the group of Santiago and Lanteri. Now Para going out on her own and trying to go clear of this group behind. So Reynard is the rider chasing and leading the group with Lanteri and Olsen. They are trying to reel back Para in, and the Para is now coming out of the front of that group. I've just seen a 5 watts per kilo from Cordera. Fernanda at 4.8, but they've just nipped off at the pace now. Cordera pushing at 7, but it's on, off from that chase group at the moment. So Cordera now adamant she's crossing this gap to Angie Para, 7 watts per kilo, 10 watts per kilo coming out of it. This is a sprint effort on the front here, but Cordero is towing that group because it's not a consistent effort. Sanchez and Reynard have gone over the top. In fact, Cordero is in trouble if she doesn't watch her pace. She's just pushing back onto that group, and that is the danger of a yo-yoing pace rather than a consistent strong pace. When the group decide to move, you've got to be really careful you don't get caught. So talking about getting caught, Angie Para had pushed on and she'd pushed clear of this group. But the group being led by Lantari at the moment and Cordera, Fernanda and Santiago are going to reel Para back in. So big action on the Category 2 race today. And back down the field, coming into 16 kilometres. It's the start of segment number 5 for this Category 1 race field. So Gemma Brogan, I'm just taking a peek at her heart rate. This is really, really comfortable for these Category 1 riders. Brogan sat at 117 beats per minute. So this is comfortable. Spin your legs. I bet Brogan's heart rate was higher warming up today than it is currently sat in that pack. So taking a look across our race fields, Coking out in the lead of that Category 4 race. She attacked and she kicked early and the group didn't chase her. She's still out front at the moment. The Category 3 race field sat there tapping along strongly. A good group of 6, 7, 8 riders. Our Category 1 race, we've got a group there as well. And the Category 2 race now being brought back together again. Now, our Category 3 race field, we're in with Quintero at the moment, but Capitan, Barco, they are all in this group. Fiorona, Light, sat in this group. Antico is in here too. And they are rolling through and very comfortable again. Taking a little look at the pace. The pace is slightly higher than our Category 1 race field at the moment, 22.3 kilometres so far travelled for this group. They are around 26 seconds away from seeing the back of that Category 4 race field. And shortly, when they sweep round that right-hand bend, the next rider they are going to see will indeed be one of the riders that they are looking to catch in that Category 4 field. So our Category 1 race field coming through at 17 kilometres. Now, that is the end of segment number 5. Now, I am expecting to see not the Category 1 riders at the front of this field. They have not picked up the pace enough yet. So we're now through segment number 5. That is the last of our 1 kilometre segments. And it is still our Category 2 race field putting in the fastest times at the moment. So Cordero going through in 1 minute and 28 seconds, along with the rest of that Category 2 pack. Mauricio, Reynard, Cerna, Para, Sanchez, Olsen in there as well. Then we start to see the racing from our Category 3 riders, around 5 seconds back. We've got Giuliano in there. We've got Antico, Light, Fiorona, Lopez, Barco, Cabanatan, Ribaldo. These riders coming through 5, 6 seconds back. Then looking for our Category 1 riders. Again, it's 20th position and down in terms of the time. They are 8 seconds back. Our Category 1 group on the fastest time through that segment, which was set by our Category 2 race field. Now, our Category 2 race field have been seeing attacks off the front and chases, attacks off the front and chases. Our Category 1 race field have been tapping along quite comfortably since this group of 16 split from the rest of the race field. So we talked about attacks off the front of our Category 2 race field. They've come back together again, and Angie Para has gone again. Angie Para kicks and kicks hard, and it is Cordero who is doing the chasing again. Cordero is chasing hard. She's put in a sprint effort to bring that group back, and the group are coming back because Fernanda is there as well. Olsen, Lantari, Santiago too. Whilst Para is desperately trying to break away, the group are continuing to yo-yo Concertina and come back together again as Parrot gets brought back in. So Bauer has been watching the racing of the attacking in Category 2. She's decided now's the time to attack Category 1. She's had enough of this slow ride. Bauer has gone on the attack. 6 watts per kilo. She's got a small gap, but it's only 2 seconds. And there's some action now coming from behind as Gonzalez, Badascaya, Del Rocco are the ones. And Menendez is pushing as well. In fact, it's Menendez at 8 watts per kilo who's going to come shortly onto the back of Bauer's wheel. So Gonzalez, Rua, part and parcel of those attacks, but it is indeed Menendez who goes up and over the top of Bauer. Now, will Menendez continue with the attack, or will she sit up with Bauer and let the rest of the group come back together again? Now, the top right-hand corner of your screen is telling us that there is a gap in this group of Category 1 riders. So the attack did do a little bit of damage, but the riders are now crossing that gap and coming back to the current lead group. In fact, we've just seen one of the riders snowball right over the top and come out the other side. But we've got a little bit of a gap opening up. And that little bit of a gap is only a couple of seconds, but will we see those riders close that gap? And Manshandi is indeed one of those riders on the wrong side of that gap. So what will take place now? Is someone going to else attack off the front of this group, or will we allow those riders who have been dropped to get back on? So Bauer is at the front with Menezes and Brogan. Del Rocco is there as well, and Bjarnhead. Moreno is there too in this Category 1 race field. Geraldo Arraias is in here too. So there's some really class riders in this field. The next rider they are going to see down the road, though, is a Category 4 rider, 20 seconds clear. But that 20 seconds will not take long for this Category 1 race field pack to catch. So Brogan is on the attack this time. This time the attack in Category 1 is Gemma Brogan. Bauer went last time. The group brought her back. Brogan is going now, but Brogan seems to have sat up already. Brogan not kicking too hard because Bauer is the rider closing it down. Bauer goes over the top of Brogan, and Brogan's going to need to pick up her pace because Bauer looked as though she was going to stay fast, but she didn't. She sat up as Moreno and Embring have come over the top. Quevedo is there as well. They fly past the Category 4 back marker who goes straight out the back of the field as Bauer now at a faster pace and a higher heart rate, 158, now starting to move, and this group is starting to motor a little. So Moreno, Bauer, Gonzalez, Rua, Bardascaya, Menezes, Geraldo, all in this group of Category 1 riders. As we just drop down the road, now Sinelli is here, one of our Category 2 riders. Sinelli is looking like she turned and looked over her shoulder, she would see this Category 1 lead group. Now, Sinelli is a strong Category 2 rider and looking like she's taking it easy at the moment at 1.82 watts per kilo and waiting for this group as she kicks. She's kicking at 4.75 watts per kilo because Sinelli wants to be part and parcel of this leading Category 1 group. She does not want to snowball through the group and drop out the other side. She wants to jump straight in and take a tow. So Sinelli, this Category 2 rider, looking for a tow from the leading Category 1 group as Bardascaya comes up on her back wheel with Menezes, Bauer and Quevedo. Sinelli wanting a tow down the road because it's 1 minute and 48 seconds down the road to the next Category 2 rider. So Bauer goes over the top. Menezes, Sinelli sits into the group. Embring is here as well. Geraldo too. This group all coming back together again as they sweep up Sinelli into the pack. So Alania Sinelli swept into that Category 1 lead group pack. The Category 2 rider off of the back of the Category 2 race at the moment, having had a much steadier ride and a much steadier start than the frantic pace we've seen on that Category 2 race with constant attack after attack after attack. So Sinelli now comfortably sitting in this Category 1 field. So Bauer recovering a little from that earlier attack, her heart rate back down to 139. Menezes is in here, Gonzalez, Rua, Del Rocco, Moreno, this pack moving comfortably now, 36 kilometers per hour as they transition through this race. So back in with the leading rider in this Category 2 race, Angie Parrott attacked. This attack is stuck, but they're leaving her out to dry at the moment. She's only 3 seconds clear of the chase group, and Lantari seems to have decided enough is enough. We're bringing you back, Para, as Lantari kicks off the front of that group. She's towing Sanchez and Olsen and Santiago with her, and they are now going to make that junction back to Para as Para sits up a little and waits for that group to catch her. So this category 2 race field, constant attack after attack after attack with riders trying to go clear before they get to the bottom of that category 3 climb today. In fact, they've brought Lantari back, but someone else has gone off the front, and it's Jenny Sanchez. Sanchez has gone off the front. Now they made the catch to Lantari. Lantari is there. She's chasing again. It was Lantari who made the catch, and Lantari is trying to again on the front of that pack, but Jenny Sanchez digging in her heels, and Jenny Sanchez kicking at 6 watts per kilo to try and go clear of the group. She's now got 2 seconds, and it's Fernanda and Para trying to bring her back. So Sanchez continues to kick. She's got Ochoa in her sights. Ochoa, one of the category 3 riders, 1 second down, and Sanchez is going to ride straight past Ochoa. Now, the next riders Ochoa is going to see is going to be the chase group of category 2 riders being led by Lantari at the moment, as Ochoa kicks to get onto Sanchez's wheel. Nice move by Ochoa trying to get in that draft, but Sanchez isn't having it. Sanchez is far too quick. She doesn't want Ochoa on her wheel, and she doesn't want that group coming back to her. So Sanchez is kicking. She's pushing at 5 watts per kilo. Ochoa is in no man's land between Sanchez and the chase group of that category 2 race field. Sanchez has now got 6 seconds. Fabulous work by Jenny Sanchez here. She's continuing to push, and she is time trialing off the front of that category 2 pack. So while Sanchez is time trialing off the front of that category 2 pack, Barco is moving strongly on the front of this category 3 pack. We've got riders pushing on here as well. 27.6 kilometers. They are not too far off that category 3 final climb, and they are coming up onto the back of that category 4 race field. Now, sweeping up those red jersey riders, there's 3 red jersey riders you can see in that pack of blue jersey category 3 riders. They've caught 3 of the category 4 riders and have swept them up in their midst. So Jojo Bauer now pushing on the front of this category 1 race again. Bauer pushing on, seeing what the legs are like with the other riders here today, but not being able to go clear and being very well marked today. Menezes is here, Bardeskaya, Moreno, Embring, all marking Jojo Bauer today. They saw her time trial away on that climb in the final of our January race last week, and she is a marked rider today, but kicking again at 7 watts per kilo. Can she go clear? Will anyone respond? And it's Menezes picking up the charge and just jumping on that back wheel, but Bauer kicks again. She's out of that saddle and she is pushing hard. She is pushing hard to try and stay away. Menezes has gone over the top, and Menezes and Bauer are now clear. So riding behind, it is Ramirez we are seeing, as well as Geraldo Arrayas with Brogan pushing on here. Ramirez pushing hard, Bardeskaya, Quevedo, they are trying to close down, and Bauer continues to kick and continues to ride and continues to push. But Bauer and Menezes now not got much of a gap. It's about 1 second now, and that is all, with Geraldo, Quevedo and Bardeskaya pushing on behind. Sinelli is still working hard to stay in that group and is desperately trying to take the draft from that group whilst they continue to attack each other. And Bauer pushing at 7 watts per kilo again, because she can start to see the charge from behind. Menezes is pushing again, and it's Brogan coming across from the group. Now this would be a fantastic 3-person breakaway. Bauer, Menezes and Brogan. It would be an outstanding group if this group could get away, but I can't imagine Bardeskaya and the other riders behind. Ramirez is pushing on as well, and Moreno, Biarhead and Quevedo have all seen the challenge here, and they are all pushing now. This race is pushing really hard, and it's starting to get strung out in this category 1 race as they come up for what will be the end of segment number 6. So segment number 6 is our first 5K and our only 5 kilometre actually segment today. So a much longer segment, and take a look at that. Bauer and the others lighting this category 1 race up have indeed produced the fastest time in segment number 6. So this is the first time category 1 have been the fastest through any of our segments today. It's taken a long time for this race to light up in category 1. Jojo Bauer setting the fastest time, 7 minutes and 58 seconds. Now, Moreno in 2, Bardeskaya in 3, Menezes in 4, Brogan in 5, Quevedo in 6, Gonzalez Rua in 7th, Embring in 8th, Ramirez in 9th, and Del Rocco in 10th. Just over a second separating the top 10. So, the first time our Category 1 riders have indeed been through that. Now, it's looking like a little bit further back. Our Category 2 riders indeed are not too far off of that pace either. So, we're looking like the Category 1 group down to 14 riders, and our Category 2 riders now 40 seconds slower actually through that segment. So our Category 1 race field really picking up the pace now. So just one segment left in this race today, and that segment starts when our Category 3 climb starts at 30.2 kilometres. Now, if we drop in with Barco Ossa on the left-hand side of your screen, Category 4 riders are indeed on that final climb already. So it's a 35-kilometre race today. Barco Ossa is pushing on and is attacking that Category 4 chasing pack. Koking is down the road already. Koking put in a very early attack and they didn't chase her down. Barco Ossa is putting an attack in now early on the foothills of this climb and has gone clear of the chasing group in this Category 4 race. So this Category 4 race now, Barco Ossa in here. Gallego in here, Vink and Pablo a few seconds back, but those are the riders we're looking at on the road here. And Tanningen now 10 seconds back as well. And Tanningen is a good climber as well, but a long gap now to make up. So Koking in 1, she's over a minute clear of this race field. Well, it is 250 meters clear in this on the road. So all the action going on now with our Category 4 race field, the leaders of the race on the road today, the first riders to start on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for qualifier number 1 in February. The last riders to start 15 minutes behind them was indeed this Category 1 race field. So Jojo Bauer pushing on at the front here with Menezes here as well. It's looking like this race field are just stretching out and losing riders occasionally, so that we're looking at around 13 riders now in the front of this lead pack on this Category 1 race field. So now onto the climb as well are our Category 3 riders. So Antico pushing on here in this Category 3 race, but we've also got Agudela Arrayas chasing hard. Higuita is the next rider there, plus Barco, plus Fioroni. All these riders within a couple of seconds of each other. Light is there as well, and Lopez. 3 seconds between that large group of riders. So that's still 3, 6, 7 riders within 3 seconds of each other on the early stages of this climb. So whilst our Category 3 and Category 4 riders tackle this Category 3 climb today, our Category 1 riders are not there yet. They have not yet reached that Category 3 climb. So Bauer, Bardeskaya, Quevedo and Borgin all riding in this leading Category 1 group. The next rider they're going to see down the road is one of our Category 3 riders. We've got Zabala and Giuliano just down the road in front of them now, but that's the next group of riders this pack are going to see. So Cordero, our Category 2 rider pushing on here. It was Para who had attacked, but it's looking like Para has been caught back because Category 2 are now also on the climb. So all 3 categories other than Category 2, Category 3 and Category 4 now all on the climb. Category 1 not there yet. It's looking like it's still over 3 kilometres between the front of our Category 2 race field and the front of our Category 1 race field today. Now, that tells you something because our Category 2 race field, we've seen attack after attack after attack. Our Category 1 race field have, after a very fast and furious 1 kilometre, have had a very steady race until quite recently when we've started to see some attacks. but we seem to see this group settling down a little bit more now as they are rolling into the foothills of the climb, which comes at 30.2 kilometers. So this group is still 2K from the bottom of that climb. Now, all three of our other race categories are indeed on the climb already. Our Category 4, Category 3 and Category 2 race fields are all on those steeper sections. So Lanteri is indeed pushing on in that Category 2 race. We are starting to see riders go clear. It was a large Category 2 field that came into the base of that climb together. They'd seen attack after attack with Para and Lanteri and other riders going clear. They'd seen chases coming back and Cerna here riding strongly, Fernanda riding strongly, Lanteri here as well with Olsen and Reynard. This is a group of 4 Category 2 riders just pushing on and catching some of the Category 3 back markers. Now, as they push on, we've got Olsen here and we've got Lanteri are about a second up the road. Now it's looking like Cordero is our lead rider at the moment in this Category 2 race. You can just see on the top right-hand corner of your screen, we've got a green blob going round the corner up ahead. Now that would be Cordero, 4 seconds ahead of Fernanda here and these other riders in this group. So Cerna is here, Fernanda is here, Olsen is here. These are the chasing riders, and these are the riders chasing down Cordero. Now Cordero 7 seconds further up the road. She's 100 meters ahead. As the road straightens out, these riders can see her, but currently through these twists and turns, Cordero is staying clear of the vision of the chasing riders behind. Now, Cordero on this flatter section as she crosses this wooden bridge. The riders behind are making the most of the difference and are pushing harder. In fact, it's Olsen and Fernanda and Lanteri who are leading the charge behind, but Cordero keeps tapping out a really nice rhythm and some great cadence coming from Cordero as she continues on this climb. So it's looking like that Category 2 race is coming back together a little as we move to our Category 3 race. So Antico here pushing on, but she's got Hugita for company. So these 2 riders pushing at the front of this Category 3 race, now in position 6th and 7th on the road with 5 Category 4 riders ahead. So these have caught the Category 4 riders other than the 5 leading Category 4 riders, but Tandingen is the next rider they are going to see in their sights as Tandingen will very shortly come into view for these 2 leading Category 3 riders. So they are in the tunnels. Vink, the Category 4 rider who has just been caught, is pushing on and is making the most of being with Antico. But Antico digs really hard. Antico's just put out 7.2 watts per kilo. Antico is moving fast. This is a section where she thinks she can utilize her power to win this Category 3 race. And Antico has really gone hard. So Antico has put a massive sprint in. She's currently sitting at 8 watts per kilo. She's gone past Vink. She's gone past Agudela as well. She's gone past Gallego as well, and she's got 2 riders in front of her. Wow, she is pushing on, and she is pushing on hard now because Antico wants to win this race. I think Antico wants to be the first rider over the line, not just the first rider in this Category 3 race today. So Antico in this Category 3 race is now leading this Category 3 ride. She is climbing really strongly and she's just put in a massive 1-minute power effort to go clear of the rest of that Category 3 field. She only has Koking ahead of her. Koking, the lead rider in the Category 4 race, is the only rider on the road ahead of Alicia Antico. So Jojo Bauer now with the rest of this Category 1 lead pack on the foothills of the climb. So all 4 race categories now on the climb. Bauer in this lead group. In fact, it's Del Rocco who's pushing on early on the front here. This group now really stretching as they move into this climb, but just under 3 kilometers ahead of them is the lead on the road. And that is Mary Joyce Koking in the Category 2 race, who has just been overtaken by Alessia Antico. Antico having a storming climb here from this Category 3 race field. Now rider number 1 on the road today. So can our Category 1 riders catch Alicia Antico, our Category 3 race leader and our race leader on the road at the moment? She's at 33.8 kilometres travelled. She has 1.2 kilometres to the finish line, whereas Del Rocco and Quevedo, who are pushing at the front of that Category 1 race, are at 31.2 kilometres further down the road. So now the Category 1 race has hit the climb. It has started to light up. Bauer is pushing hard. Bauer is pushing hard on the front. Ramirez is behind her, but they are about to start catching and chasing and finding those race fields behind. Now, Bauer continues to push. Cordero is here. Cordero is pushing on the front of this Category 2 race field. This Category 2 race field really starting to work hard as well. Cordero, Fernanda, Olsen, they are all still together and climbing strongly. Now, who is going to take it? This has been a constant attacking we have seen from this Category 2 race field, but who is going to take the win today? Will it be Leslie Ann Cordero? Will Olsen make the catch? Can Fernanda catch too? Will Cerner come through? Those riders are not far behind, but Cordero now has 5 seconds on this climb. Now Cordero is pushing on. The only rider Cordero has in front of her is Alessia Antico. Antico is 100 meters up the road. Antico is 800 meters from the finish. She's leading our Category 3 race. Cordero is leading our Category 2 race. She is 900 meters behind. 90 meters behind. Cordero is coming fast. Can Antico stay clear to take the win today in the Category 3 race and cross the line first? So Cordero pushes. They are on the same bridge. They are transitioning the same section of this course. That is coming thick and fast. There's now 50 meters in it as Cordero pushes on. Antico is in front. It's 4 seconds. Cordero can now see Antico. If Antico could turn and look over her shoulder, Cordero is coming fast behind. Fernanda is 5 seconds back, followed by Olsen. And Fernanda and Olsen are going to fight it out for second place in this Category 2 race field, because I don't think they're going to catch Cordero, but you never know what's going to happen in the last few meters of this race. So Cordero coming up with 500 meters to go as she overtakes Antico, the leader in the Category 3 race, to become the race leader on the road today. Bauer further back down the field, now pushing on with Brogan pushing behind, but Bauer is now leading that Category 1 race, but there is no way she is going to catch and take the lead in this race today. She is now 2 kilometers behind Cordero as Brogan and Bauer continue to push in that Category 1 race field. So Fernanda and Olsen are fighting it out now for second and third place in that Category 2 race. They're now second and third on the race road today. So Cordero comes through, and Cordero has got, she's coming up to 250 meters to go. Cordero is riding, she's riding strongly now. She is now at the head of this race. She is leader on the road, and she is leader of the Category 2 race. There's now 10 seconds back to Fernanda and Olsen, 2 and 3 in that Category 2 race. The gradient is steep, and it is kicking hard at the moment. So as the gradient eases off a little, Cordero's got 100 meters to go. She's going to see that finish banner. Cordero is going to take the win in this Category 2 race as Cordero kicks to ensure she does. Cordero finishes 1 in the Category 2 race. Olsen takes 2, Fernanda takes 3, and they are 1, 2, 3 across the road as well. So Alicia Antico is the next rider on the road. She's going to turn the corner and see the finish banner. Alicia Antico is going to take first place in the Category 3 race and fourth place today on the road. The next riders we are looking at coming in will be our 4th place in that Category 2 race. And then we will see our Category 4 riders coming in. But on the right-hand side of your screen, still with some distance to go, Bauer is pushing now. Bauer is now looking as though she is clear of that pack in that Category 1 race. Bauer is showing us what a consummate climber she is. She showed us last week, but we've now got the winners in our other race categories in front of Bauer. So Cordero takes it from Olsen in that Category 2 race field. It is Osario Gutierrez in 3, Bereo Serna in 4, and Lantari rounding out the top 5 in that Category 2 race. Also, the 5 fastest riders in the race so far. Antico taking the win in Category 3 from Hugita, from Barco, from Fioroni and Golden Light. And Gallego taking the win in category number 4. So we are now waiting for the win in category number 1 in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club qualifier number 1 in February. And Jojo Bauer is currently tapping up this climb over the wooden bridge. The gradient's currently at 10.7% here, but the chase is coming on from behind, you know, and she is not clear of this race field yet. So Borgin is here with Brogan and Del Rocco, all within 2 seconds of Brogan. So the first 4 riders in this Category 1 race field within 2 seconds of each other at the moment. Bauer, Borgin, Brogan and Del Rocco. Quevedo now with Menendez is over 30 seconds behind. But can Bauer continue to climb and continue to climb strongly? They have left everything in this Category 1 race down to this finish, and Bauer has anticipated she can take this climb, but Borgin is pushing on here. Del Rocco is riding strongly too, so is Brogan. 4 riders currently in the mix here for the win in this Category 1 race. So as they mop up some of the back markers here in the Category 4 race and Category 3 race, Jojo Bauer continues to push on as she continues to kick, but Borgin is pushing. They've got 800 metres left in this Category 1 race, just 800 metres to decide who's going to take the win here. Del Rocco is in 2, constantly fighting here with Borgin and Brogan. These 4 riders are spread out, and I think Bauer is going to get caught unless she really pushes a big, deep kick in here. Bauer pushes on over this bridge. It's going to transition off these boards and back onto the tarmac, but Borgin is coming too, and Del Rocco and Brogan, still only 2 seconds separating this group of 4. So Borgin has closed the gap to Bauer. Del Rocco and Brogan are here as well. Taking a look over the shoulder, these lead 2 here. Bauer and Borgin can see Del Rocco and Brogan in their sights. 2 seconds now, still only separating these top 4 riders. So with 500 metres to go in this Category 1 women's race, there's 2 seconds separating the top 4 riders in this race. Bauer, Borgin, Del Rocco and Brogan. Brogan is sat now back a little bit far as Del Rocco comes over the top of Bauer and Borgin. Bauer and Borgin are going to have to kick because there's going to be 300 metres to go. 300 metres to the finish line. We've got 3 women in this Category 1 race, neck and neck. So with 250 metres to go, Borgin and Bauer are pushing at the front. Del Rocco is with them as well. Borgin is sitting at 5 watts per kilo. Bauer is at 7. Del Rocco's at 7 too. There is neck and neck here. Touch and go. Who is going to take this? Bauer goes. Del Rocco kicks at 11 watts per kilo. They've got 150 metres to go. Del Rocco is kicking at 10. Bauer at 11. Borgin's at 9.9. Is Bauer going to make this, or is Del Rocco going to make it? Who's going to come across this line first? I think it's going to be Del Rocco. Could it be Bauer? Bauer, Del Rocco. I think Del Rocco took that just. Yeah, indeed. And there are the results. And it was just. And boy, am I so pleased there is a computer on this line in esports. So Del Rocco takes the win, 1 hour, 1 minute and 53 seconds from Jojo Bauer. Look at that. 0.068 of a second in it. Borgin taking 3rd in that race. Brogan, I would expect to see as our next rider coming in across that line for 4th place, but we will see there what happens. In fact, look, there she is. She just pops up in 4th place in that Category 1 race. So Del Rocco taking the win there from Bauer from Borgin. Cordero taking the win in category number 2 from Olsen. All 4 race categories over the line, and what a race. Very different racing in our different categories today for the first qualifier of February for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So it has been such an interesting start to February. It's been great putting words to the action. You can follow me on social media at Biking Emma. Please get in touch. We love to hear from you. You can also follow MyWhoosh on all of the social media platforms. And of course, if you want to join the racing and join the start line, head over to mywhoosh.com and click on the events page to follow the instructions. So, for me and from all the team at MyWhoosh, stay safe, enjoy your riding, and we will see you again next week. Goodbye.